The last few weeks, I haven't been able to create as many videos as I've wanted to just because of the weather, visiting family, family visiting, and photography gigs that have come in. Also just being responsible with work, a parent, all those different things. And those all take priority over creating videos. And because the weather's still pretty gross outside, we're gonna talk about 10 photography items you need under $50 on Amazon. This weird thing right behind me, you can see, this is a backdrop stand. It can get a lot higher than this, it can get a lot wider than this, but it comes in handy. It comes with 2 stands and then just this bar that goes across, and then you'd have to buy whatever color backdrop you want separate. All we have to do is take this, throw it over top. So now I have this nice black background. So maybe you have a client that you're doing portraits for and they want red, blue, whatever. You can go and you can buy those and you'll have something to hang it off of. And the cool thing is it also comes with some clips if you need it. So maybe you just need to make sure this is tight up there. You can do that. And it comes with these little bags right here. So you can fill them with sand, rock, whatever it might be. Drop them onto the bottom because this is pretty light and it's very easy to move. This is one of the 2 background stands that come with it. And there's the screw thread on the top. But what's really cool is because of that screw thread, not that you'd want to put a heavy light on here, but it's basically a light stand for a lighter light, maybe like a 150 watt one or something like that. So instead of having to buy a background and then light stands, you can buy this backdrop stand and then have yourself some lights. Now, if you're gonna do photography where you're gonna need the backdrop and light stands, it's a different story. And since I mentioned something about portraits and I'm trying to kind of put all the portrait stuff together so I can keep that list at 10, I'm gonna add something else to the backdrop. And if you're a portrait photographer, it's gonna come in handy because this is a 5-in-1 diffuser. Now, it's got all these different things with it, but for me, this part comes in handy right now because I have my light shining this way. And look what happens when I take the light away from my face. You see how dark it gets? But now I put it down here. It's reflecting onto my face. So now we have a good exposure on both sides. And that is something that comes in handy. And then this side is black. So it's gonna shoot onto there and we're gonna have that black, but we're not gonna have that same look. And this does work great for portraits, not just this, because if you unzip this, what's really cool is it's gold on one side. So if you wanna give somebody's skin that nice goldish glow, you can absolutely do that. And then you have the other side, which is white. So if you need to, diffuse something, you can do that. Or the middle part is just a massive diffuser. My light's right here. And just look at me right now. You see that? Watch what happens when we throw this up here. We're gonna get that light diffused. So it's gonna be a little softer. This light's already pretty soft, but if you need something to like soften the outside light and you have a second person with you, you can use something like this just to soften that light above them or the one coming from the side. So this is a nice piece of gear to have if you need something for your portraits. Next is gonna be something most of you probably already have, but if you don't, this is gonna be the one thing on the list that I think everybody should own. And that's gonna be a dual battery charger. You can see there's nothing special about this. I mean, it tells you if your batteries are charged up here, and you can put 2 batteries in right there, and it's got USB-C and micro USB-C. But other than that, there's nothing to it. It charges 2 batteries at once. But if you're somebody like me, where if you plug something in, you're gonna walk away and you're not gonna think about it for another 6 hours, and then you're gonna think, I could have had both of my batteries charged by now, then this is for you, because then you can plug both of them in and forget about it. And that way, when you come back, you're not gonna be as annoyed with yourself because at least both of your batteries will be charged by now. A lot of these aren't fun or glamorous. They're just items that I think you probably need because it's something that's gonna help you out at some point in your photography career or your hobby. And some of that can be just that you might need something simple, and some of that can be that it's gonna give you a peace of mind when you go to a shoot or you're out and about. And speaking of having a peace of mind, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is the Apple AirTag. Now, this may not seem like something you would think of as a photography accessory because these things come in handy for loads of different things. You can throw them in your suitcase when you're traveling, so that way you know if your bag's at your destination with you or if it got left behind. Or you can use this on car keys, whatever it might be. But for me, I love taking this and just having it in my camera bag because you can throw this at any spot, preferably somewhere hidden. So in case it gets stolen, you can track it, right? Have it underneath something somewhere. Some camera bags actually have pockets specifically for AirTags, but you can absolutely have this in one of your bags. So that way you can track it in case you leave it somewhere. You can just take it and throw it somewhere in your bag and just zip it up. And now we're good and it's hidden. So if you ever leave your bag on an airplane, which I have done in the past without an AirTag, but I got it back. But that'll lead me into the next item, just a nice bag. This is one that you can just throw over your shoulder, a nice little sling bag that'll fit a camera and a lens and some accessories if you need it. But this allows you to take it every day without having to have like a backpack on you. There's a million different ones on Amazon that are gonna be below $50. Just find the one that you think works perfect for you. But to me, that's also like a great item to have just to make life a little simpler, because yes, as great as it is to have a backpack and you can put all your lenses on there, sometimes all you need is something small to carry with you to take a camera and maybe a lens or two. This next one isn't strictly for photography. You can use it for whatever, but I use it for all my camera gear and basically anything that needs charged. And that's gonna be a power port. This one is by Anker. And the reason I say this is great to have is because it outputs at 65 watts. So it's gonna charge your stuff a lot faster than say if you were using just a normal Apple one or the one that comes with your camera where it might only be 12 watts or whatever it might be. Now, when it comes to charging your camera, make sure your camera can actually take that amount of input, but also you need to make sure your cables can actually provide that support for 65 watts as well, because some cables can't do that. But having something like this does come in handy, and you can see on the back part right here, we have two USB-Cs and then a USB charger. So that's gonna come in handy. You can charge 3 things at once. So you're gonna be able to charge your camera, your drone, and your computer through here if you needed to. So if you're at a setup at a coffee shop, I mention coffee shops a lot because that's the thing that comes to mind, because most of us will hang out there and edit there. You can charge everything you need with this versus having to take 3 or 4 different wall outlets with you. You can just have this single one. Next, this plastic case that's nice and firm. Now, I was gonna talk about the case for a minute, and I think the case is a great thing to have because you can put your SD cards in it. And we can add that to the list. This case, it's nice, and it's super cheap. It's like $10. So you can have your SD cards in it and throw it in your bag. But what I wanted to talk about was having a backup SD card. Now, some of these SD cards definitely do not fall under that $50 price point, right? These Lexar 256 gigabyte ones don't. But something like an 128 gigabyte SanDisk one will. And having a backup SD card, that's something you just want to have. So if you only have 1 or 2 SD cards, maybe you think about buying an extra one as your backup. Your backup SD card does not need to be expensive at all because it's a backup. It's there in case your SD card fails, you lose it, or anything like that. And I have lost a few SD cards. So having a backup one is gonna come in very handy. And just having it in this case is gonna be nice because maybe you just throw it in your bag, forget about it, you're good to go. And one day all of a sudden, maybe you have a second shooter with you and you need to give them one of your SD cards, because nothing's worse than a second shooter that has their own SD cards and then you gotta try to download those videos or those photos from them before they leave. And now they can just hand you back your SD card and they can take off, and now you have everything you need. Next, cleaning stuff. Get yourself some sensor cleaners. Super easy to use, because I know one of you out there watching this video right now is taking photos and you've got specks all throughout your photos that you're not even noticing. A lot of dust on your sensor because you haven't even thought about it. Clean it, please. And this will save you a ton of money in the long run instead of having to send it somewhere or take it to your local camera shop and letting them clean it, where they're gonna use the same exact thing. And then the other thing, a rocket blower. Get all that dust off of your lens. You see how fast that is? Super, super easy. Honestly, get this, because I know some people out there are afraid of cleaning their own sensors, so I completely understand, but you're definitely gonna wanna be able to know how to clean your own lenses, and having a rocket blower with you when you're out doing shoots just to get some of that dust particles off, so that way it's not interrupting your shoots or you're not running into issues, is gonna come in handy. And let's see, super light, super easy to take with you, and even better, super cheap. A mini tripod. This is by Zedio. I don't know anything about the brand. I just know that it was $12 on Amazon. So that's why I got it. But it's gonna come in handy for somebody like me who uses the Pocket 3 to film a lot of content, especially when I'm inside, because I have it set up on a SmallRig Magic arm, which I have a whole video about up here. And that's another thing that I think should be on the list. It kind of gets thrown in with this category right here just because they're fantastic. You can do all sorts of different shots, but a mini tripod is just gonna allow you to sit your camera wherever you want and have it off the ground a little bit. Now, it's not gonna be as big as a normal tripod, but you can see how it is in my hand, and it's just gonna stay off the ground. Keep your camera from being too close to the ground, being right on the ground so it doesn't get scratched up or anything like that. And the SmallRig Magic arm, well, you can just get all sorts of cool shots with that. And if you're more interested in that, like I said, check out that video because that thing is probably one of my favorite pieces of gear I've bought within the last year. So this is gonna be something most of y'all didn't even know existed or never even thought about. This may look like just a traditional step-up ring, but this is my 35 millimeter. And usually we'd put the step-up ring here, twist it on, and we throw a filter on the front. But this actually screws on backwards, and we twist it on to the front of our camera lens like that. You see that? Right there. And then we take our camera and we throw it on like that. And now our lens is on backwards. And what this is gonna allow you to do, and it may sound crazy, and let's be honest, it looks pretty ridiculous. This is gonna allow you to get macro shots in manual mode. So if you've ever wanted to get very close to something, but you didn't wanna buy a macro lens, you can just buy one of these rings. Now, you're gonna have to find the one that fits your camera filter thread and all of that, and that's gonna be found on the front of your camera lens, which is right now connected to my camera. That's where you would find it. And now it only works in manual mode because this area is not hooked up, right, for the autofocus to be able to work. But if you just wanna get a couple very, very close shots, maybe you're doing some detailed B-roll, whatever it is, and you're okay with using manual mode, now you can spend $12 and be able to get macro shots very easy. And this one might not be essential to you, but I find that it comes in handy, and this is an inflatable light. You see just how nice this light is? So if you just need that extra bit of light, like I could possibly need on my face right here, just to kind of even things out with my light right here, but I don't have the room for it, I could easily do that. Or I can just, throw it above if I, want that Eagles logo to lighten up or anything like that, just to kind of have that rim and hair light. You could absolutely have something like this. And what's even cooler is that first word I mentioned where it's inflatable. So you can just inflate it up, and then you have this button right here. You press in, the air comes out, and now we can take this light and fold it up. Now this is gonna make things very easy because you can basically put this anywhere just because of being able to fold it up, and you can take it anywhere. But what are those things that you think, hey, like if you're starting photography, you should own this? What are those? Now, you don't have to keep them under $50, but drop them down below because I'd like to see it. And I'd like to see if I actually own any of those. And maybe I'll do another video like this soon where it would do $100 or something like that. But as always, thanks for watching. God bless. I'll see you in the next one.